There comes a moment in life when everything feels like it's closing in, the weight of failure, the sting of loss, the silence of being misunderstood, and in those moments, happiness feels like a distant luxury, something reserved for later, when things are better. But what if that's the lie holding you back? What if happiness isn't something you wait for, but something you push yourself into? Happiness is often mistaken for a spontaneous emotion, something that arises when life aligns perfectly. When we land the job, fall in love, lose the weight, pay off the debt, then we assume happiness will arrive, but life rarely aligns that way. And if you spend your time waiting for the ideal circumstances, you'll spend your whole life chasing a horizon that keeps moving further away. The truth most people avoid is this: happiness is not a feeling you wait for. It's a discipline. It's a habit you form, a mindset you train, a muscle you build. Especially when life is hard, there will be days when nothing goes right. When people fail you, when you fail yourself, when your own thoughts become your enemy, and on those days, happiness doesn't come knocking on your door, it hides. It gets buried under fear, exhaustion, stress, regret. But this is exactly when you need to dig it out. This is when you need to push for it. Because happiness, real happiness, is not about being blind to pain. It's about choosing to rise in spite of it. Imagine a person who only trains at the gym when they feel strong. They'll never grow. The gains come from the days they're tired, sore, or discouraged, but show up anyway. The same is true for the mind. The same is true for happiness. You have to condition yourself to choose it, even when your entire world tells you not to. That's how you build emotional resilience. That's how you master your mind instead of being ruled by it. You might be surrounded by negativity right now. You may have people in your life who complain constantly, who drag you down, who make you feel guilty for trying to be better. You may have a past filled with trauma, betrayal, or silence that still echoes in your head. But none of that can stop you. If you stop waiting for life to make you happy, it begins when you stop asking the world to give you peace and start giving it to yourself from within. Some people will think you're crazy for trying to be happy when you have every reason to be miserable. Let them. This isn't for them. This is for you. Pushing yourself to be happy isn't about faking a smile or denying reality. It's about claiming your right to joy in a world that profits from your pain. It's about saying, I see the chaos, I feel the pain, and I still choose not to drown in it. That's not weakness, that's power, that's ownership. That's how you reclaim your life. Start by being radically honest with yourself. Ask, what beliefs have I accepted about happiness? Do I think I need to earn it? That I don't deserve it unless I'm perfect? That other people control it? Now challenge those beliefs. Because no one, and I mean no one, has the authority to control your internal state unless you give it to them. Every moment you say, I can't be happy because of this person, or that job, or this mistake, you're handing over the keys to your life. It won't be easy. Nothing that's worth it ever is. But over time, it becomes instinct. Just like you can train your body to get stronger under resistance, you can train your mind to remain centered under stress. You can teach yourself to find the small joys that exist even in dark times. The quiet moment of stillness, the song that lifts you, the memory that makes you smile. Those are not distractions, they're lifelines. Use them. You have to become the kind of person who protects your joy, who fights for it, who refuses to let circumstances dictate whether today is a good day. Because if you can do that, if you can push yourself toward happiness even in suffering, you become unstoppable. You become someone who is no longer reactive to the world, but someone who responds with clarity, intention, and peace. This is your life. It's happening now, not when everything is fixed, not when your past is erased, now, and every moment you spend waiting for a better one is a moment you lose. You don't need a new life to be happy. You need a new lens, a new mindset, a new standard. Happiness is not a reward, it's a responsibility, so push yourself, not to fake it, but to build it, not for the world's approval, but for your own survival. The life you want doesn't begin when things get easier. It begins when you decide you're strong enough to create joy in the middle of the mess. That's the moment you stop surviving and start living. That's the moment you reclaim your power. You don't rebuild yourself in comfort. You rebuild yourself in discomfort, in chaos, in the storm. That's the part most people run from, the hard part. But it's also the only place where true transformation lives. Life has a way of breaking us apart. Loss, failure, heartbreak, disappointment. They don't ask for permission before they show up. And once they do, they leave behind a version of you that no longer fits, like a shell that's too tight for the person you're becoming. That's when you have a choice: either stay small and stuck in the fragments of who you used to be, or start the difficult, deliberate work of rebuilding. But rebuilding isn't about returning to who you were. That person is gone, and that's not a tragedy. That's a turning point. You see, most people fear starting over because they confuse it with going backward. But the truth is, starting over is a move forward. It's a return not to your past, but to your potential. The pain you've experienced isn't the end of your story. It's the doorway into a new one. Every powerful person you admire has been broken. The only difference is, they chose to rebuild. They didn't wait for permission. They didn't wait until they felt ready. They didn't wait for the world to hand them another chance. They created the chance themselves, and you can too. Because rebuilding yourself isn't about what you've lost. It's about what you're willing to build now with what you've learned. Ask yourself, what would it look like if you stopped trying to fix the old version of yourself and started creating a new one from scratch? What if, instead of clinging to your identity as someone who was hurt, abandoned, misunderstood, you started identifying as someone who rises from that, as someone who builds with intention? It changes everything. The process of rebuilding begins in your mind. If you're waiting for external validation, it will never come in a form that sustains you. People will doubt you. Circumstances will challenge you. Life will test you again and again. But when you rebuild from the inside, none of that holds the same power. Your foundation becomes stronger than your fear, and that's when everything shifts. Rebuilding yourself requires that you let go of who the world told you to be. That you drop the masks, the expectations, the outdated definitions of success and worth. It means you get quiet enough to hear your own voice, the one you buried under noise, under obligations, under shame. It means you make decisions based on your truth, not your trauma, not your past, not your need to prove anything to anyone. This isn't easy work. It's lonely sometimes, it's exhausting, but it's also sacred. Because the moment you decide to rebuild, you take your power back from everything that tried to destroy you. You begin to understand that pain didn't ruin you, it revealed you. It showed you where the cracks were. And now you get to rebuild stronger, smarter, wiser, not in spite of the pain, but because of it. There's no timeline for this, no quick fix. Rebuilding yourself isn't a 30-day challenge or a motivational soundbite. It's a lifetime commitment, but every small choice adds up. Every day you show up for yourself, every time you set a boundary, speak your truth, pursue a goal, or refuse to be defined by your past, you're building. Brick by brick, thought by thought, action by action, eventually you look around and realize you're not the same. You're not pretending to be okay anymore. You actually are, not because life became easier, but because you became better. And the beauty of it all is this: no one can take that from you because you built it yourself. You became the architect of your own life, so don't fear the process, don't avoid the rubble. Your future isn't found in what was broken. It's found in the courage to rebuild what's next. Start there, keep going, and never forget. This new version of you, it isn't a copy of your old self. It's a masterpiece still in progress, one that's becoming more powerful with every single choice you make to rise. There is a moment in life where you realize no one is coming to save you. No one is going to do the inner work for you. No one is going to pull you out of your pain or build the life you dream of. That moment, although it feels isolating, is actually your liberation. Because in that moment, you reclaim your power. You understand that rebuilding yourself isn't a favor you wait for. It's a decision you make. A powerful, quiet decision that says, I will not stay broken. When you look at the ruins of what you once were, your failed plans, broken relationships, the betrayal, the disappointment, you can either keep mourning them, or you can see those ruins as the raw materials for something greater. Because here's the truth most people avoid: your pain has prepared you. It didn't just hurt you, it educated you. It gave you clarity, focus, and an opportunity to choose something better, something real. The third step in rebuilding yourself is becoming deeply honest about who you've been, who you are, and who you want to be. Not who others want you to be, not who you think will be accepted, but the version of you that feels true. Most of us live with a constant internal conflict, trying to please others, trying to keep the peace, trying not to rock the boat. And in doing so, we abandon ourselves. We wear a mask so long we forget there's a real face underneath it. But the rebuilding process is impossible while you're still wearing the mask. You can't build something strong if it's based on a lie. So this is the phase where you strip everything back. You question the roles you've been playing. You let go of the labels that have been handed to you, and you begin choosing, not reacting, not compliant, choosing what kind of person you want to be from this moment forward. It takes radical responsibility to admit that you've allowed certain patterns to continue, that you've avoided your own potential because chasing it meant leaving behind your comfort, that you've stayed in places, with people, or in mindsets that no longer serve you because you were afraid of the unknown. But nothing will keep you stuck more than refusing to be honest with yourself. This part of rebuilding is about shedding, not adding. It's about clearing the mental and emotional clutter that keeps you distracted and small. That voice in your head telling you you're not enough, you weren't born with it. Someone gave it to you and you accepted it. Rebuilding is the moment you return it. You reject what no longer belongs to you. You silence that voice not by arguing with it, but by replacing it with one of your own, and then, finally, you begin to rebuild from that space, not from desperation, but from vision. You stop asking, "What do I deserve?" and start asking, "What do I want to become?" You stop fighting for your limitations and begin aligning with your possibilities. You stop chasing approval and start cultivating self-respect. It's not about pretending to be okay. It's about being brave enough to confront what's not okay and still choosing to move forward. Rebuilding yourself means you stop outsourcing your worth and you define it internally. It means you measure your success by your peace, your alignment, your progress, not by superficial metrics, not by applause. And here's what people don't tell you. Once you rebuild from this place of truth, no one can shake it. You've already seen the worst. You've already stood in the rubble and chosen to rise. You've already walked through fire and decided to heal anyway. That kind of strength can't be faked. It can't be taught. It can only be earned. So keep going. Keep building the life that feels like yours, quietly, patiently, powerfully, because the person you are becoming. They're not found in who you used to be. They are found in every single moment you choose to start over, not because you failed, but because you're brave enough to begin again. There comes a moment when you must stop identifying with your pain and start identifying with your potential. You are not the failures that broke you, the relationships that hurt you, or the mistakes that haunt you. Those were chapters, not your entire story. The fourth step in rebuilding yourself is to stop living in your past and start anchoring yourself in your present power. This moment, right here and now, is the most powerful space you will ever occupy. Why? Because it is the only place where change is possible. The past cannot be undone. The future cannot be controlled. But the present, this breath, this decision, is where transformation lives. Rebuilding yourself means understanding the value of now. Too many people delay their healing. They wait for the perfect time, the right situation, the magical sign that never comes. They stay stuck in patterns of regret, bitterness, or false hope, because it's easier to stay familiar with pain than to face the unknown of change. But if you want a new life, you must stop waiting and start acting. You must recognize that the power to shift your reality is already in your hands. It always has been. It's just been buried under fear, doubt, and old narratives. You see, the mind loves to cling to stories. It tells you that because you failed before, you'll fail again, that because someone left you, you're unlovable, that because you were hurt, you're broken, but none of that is true. Those are just scripts. And if you keep repeating them, you become them. But if you question them, if you pause and say, "Is this who I really am? Or is this just what I've been taught to believe?" then you break the cycle. And that's where your real power begins, in questioning, in awareness, in choosing. You are not the product of what happened to you. You are the product of what you decide to do with what happened. Pain is inevitable, but staying stuck in pain is optional. Growth is not about avoiding suffering, it's about extracting wisdom from it. Every difficult moment you've survived has prepared you for this point, not to stay wounded, but to become stronger, clearer, and more self-directed. This stage of rebuilding is also where you learn to stop blaming others and start taking full ownership of your life. Not in a way that excuses what they did, but in a way that says, I refuse to let that define me any longer. You let go of the illusion that someone else's apology will heal you. You stop expecting closure from people who never gave you clarity in the first place. You realize that peace doesn't come from the outside, it is cultivated within. You rebuild by reclaiming your authority over your thoughts, your reactions, your values, your decisions. There's something deeply liberating in realizing that you are allowed to redefine your life at any moment. You can rewrite the narrative. You can change direction. You can leave behind the identity that was shaped by fear and begin to walk in the truth of who you really are: resilient, capable, whole. But to do that, you must begin showing up differently. Not just thinking about change, but embodying it. You must start acting as the person you want to become. Speak like them, move like them, decide like them. You don't wait until you feel ready, because readiness is a myth. You move, and the confidence comes from the movement. You build trust in yourself by keeping your word to yourself. You build strength by doing hard things on purpose, not because you enjoy suffering, but because you value growth. And slowly, things begin to shift, not all at once, not in some dramatic overnight miracle, but day by day, step by step, your reality begins to reflect the internal changes you've made. And you start to notice something. Peace where there was once chaos. Hope where there was once despair. Vision where there was once confusion. This is what it means to rebuild yourself. Not by pretending everything is fine, but by standing in the truth of what isn't and still choosing to create something better. It's not a performance for others, it's a promise to yourself. A quiet, fierce, sacred vow. I will not abandon myself again. No matter how hard it gets, I will rise. The fifth key to rebuilding yourself is this. You must become your own source of happiness, stability, and inner strength. Life will never stop being hard. There will always be setbacks, rejections, and situations that test you. But if you are constantly relying on others to save you, validate you, or complete you, you will always feel unstable, like a house built on sand. The most powerful transformation begins when you stop outsourcing your worth and start becoming emotionally self-sufficient. This doesn't mean you isolate yourself or push people away. It means that you stop expecting others to carry the responsibility for how you feel inside. You stop handing the pen of your life story to people who don't understand your vision. You take it back. You write your own chapters. You create your own rhythm. You begin to cultivate the kind of mindset that refuses to be controlled by external circumstances. You develop the ability to remain calm in chaos, not because you're numb, but because you've built a deeper foundation within. When you rebuild yourself, you learn to stop negotiating your peace with the world around you. You stop letting situations dictate your self-worth. You stop letting other people's opinions destroy your direction. You start asking yourself, who am I when no one is clapping? Who am I when everything around me is uncertain? Who am I when I feel completely alone? Because those are the moments that reveal your real strength. People often look for healing in the wrong places. They try to fix their internal wounds with external solutions. New relationships, more distractions, temporary highs. But none of that truly works. You can't heal what's inside by running from it. You can only heal by going inward, facing yourself fully, and learning to give yourself the love and reassurance you've been seeking elsewhere. That's where the real work happens. That's where the foundation of a rebuilt life is laid. This part of the journey requires honesty, brutal honesty. You have to confront the parts of yourself that you've been avoiding, the fears, the insecurities, the self-sabotaging behaviors. You have to stop pretending and start paying attention. Why do you react the way you do? Why do you keep choosing comfort over growth? Why do you stay stuck in loops that only hurt you? When you start asking these questions with the intention of evolving, not judging, you gain clarity. And clarity is power. You also start to realize something critical. Discipline is an act of self-love. Boundaries are acts of self-love. saying no to things that drain you, stepping away from people who don't respect you, and choosing your long-term growth over short-term comfort. These are not punishments. They are gifts to your future self. They are signs that you finally understand your own value. And yes, this part is uncomfortable. It's lonely sometimes when you start raising your standards. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, you will lose people. You will outgrow spaces, but that's how you know you're growing. You don't rebuild your life to stay the same. You rebuild to become something stronger, wiser, more aligned with your truth. There will be days when it feels like nothing is working, when the silence feels too loud and the progress feels too slow. But those are the days you must push forward anyway, not because you're motivated, but because you're committed. You've made a decision. You're not going back. You're not shrinking. You're not apologizing for taking up space in your own life anymore. And slowly, piece by piece, you begin to witness the rebirth. You start attracting peace because you've stopped chasing chaos. You start feeling lighter because you've dropped what was never yours to carry. You start seeing opportunities because you've removed the blinders of self-doubt. You stop asking the world to complete you because you've realized you were never broken to begin with. You were just buried beneath layers of fear, guilt, and conditioning. So now you rise. You show up for yourself like you never have before. You speak to yourself with respect. You take care of your body, protect your energy, and guard your dreams. You build a life that feels like home, not for anyone else but for you, and in that space you finally begin to feel whole. This is not the end of the journey, it's the becoming of someone who no longer waits for happiness to arrive but chooses to embody it. Someone who knows that even when life is hard, joy can still be cultivated. And that is how you rebuild, not with perfection, but with purpose, with presence, and with power. The final key to rebuilding yourself is the realization that happiness is not something you wait for, it is something you create, intentionally, even in the middle of difficulty. Life will always bring hardship. The question is not whether you will face pain, but what you will do with it. The most powerful transformation begins the moment you stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" That shift in mindset is where true strength is born. You cannot change the past, but you can control what it means to you. And through that, you can take back your power. Pushing yourself to be happy in hard times is not about pretending everything is fine. It's not about ignoring your pain or suppressing your emotions. It's about choosing moment by moment, not to be defined by that pain. It's about learning to carry your burden differently with grace, with dignity, and with the belief that there is still something ahead worth fighting for. Because there always is. Even in the darkest moments, there's a small light, a choice, a chance to rise above what you're going through, and you owe it to yourself to take it. We've been conditioned to believe that happiness comes when the chaos ends, when the pain stops, when everything is finally perfect. But that's not true. If you're always waiting for circumstances to align before you give yourself permission to feel peace, then you'll never get there. Real peace, lasting happiness, they don't come from outside conditions. They are cultivated from the inside, through mindset, through discipline, through the conscious decision to not allow life to break you even when it tries. The greatest act of self-respect is to fight for your joy, even when the world gives you every reason to give up. That fight doesn't have to be loud or dramatic. Sometimes it's just the quiet choice to get out of bed, to show up, to keep trying, to speak kindly to yourself, to find beauty in something small, a sunrise, a breath, a single moment of stillness. These moments may feel insignificant, but they are the building blocks of resilience. Every time you choose to find light in the middle of darkness, you take back a little bit of control. You rebuild not just your life, but your spirit. You may not be able to erase what hurt you, but you can build something stronger in its place. You can become someone who turns wounds into wisdom, someone who uses the broken pieces not as reminders of pain, but as proof that you survived, that you endured, that you're still standing, and that you're still capable of joy, not because life is easy, but because you've learned how to rise again and again. And remember this, happiness is not a fixed destination. It's a practice, a muscle you build. a way of being that requires effort, especially in the moments you least feel like making it. You will have to train your mind to look beyond the struggle and seek meaning. You will have to make space for gratitude even when you're grieving. You will have to believe without evidence that better days are ahead, and that belief alone can shift everything. It's easy to be positive when everything is going well. It's easy to smile when life is smooth. But to smile in pain, to stay soft in hardship, to keep loving yourself even when you're shattered, that's true strength. That's what rebuilding yourself is all about. It's not about becoming someone new, it's about returning to who you were before the world taught you to doubt yourself, before the wounds, before the fear. It's about rediscovering the power you've always had but forgot. In the end, the most important truth is this: no matter how broken you feel, you are not beyond repair. No matter how lost you've become, you are not beyond return. You still have the ability to rebuild, to rise, to reclaim your joy. And it starts with one small, defiant act of hope, the decision to push yourself to be happy, even when life is hard, because your life is still yours. Your story is still being written, and your happiness, it's not behind you, it's not somewhere far away, it's within you, waiting to be chosen.